just have the meeting in the study.
Come on. Do you know how long it's gonna take to buff out that scratch?
Of all the places to call a meeting, this is certainly the most unconventional.
Zamoody, this is Grim we're talking about. When has anything about him been conventional?
Thank you for coming so quickly. I promise you the need is dire.
Grim, stop being so... grim. What's going on? Why are we at the edge of your territory rather than your house?
Follow me. I need to show rather than tell you.
But this is Renara's grove. Are we even allowed? She never lets anyone in there.
This is more important than simple matters of privacy. She'll forgive us our trespass this time.
What the... I don't think water's meant to be that color.
It's pitch black. And it's thick. This river provides for all of Coldread. This is a disaster.
Now you see why I summoned you. I haven't seen Renara since before this taint began.
Oh, God. Oh, it smells flammable. Something is seriously messed up here.
Renara wouldn't have willingly let this come through her home. Oh, we need to find her.
Agreed. The river heads into the grove. Perhaps she's battling it further in.
Come on.
Grim, slow down.
My sandals. Can't keep
You know
up.
how much this armor weighs? What in...
By the
God.
elder
What in
gods.
Gandalf's
Renara!
word?
What happened to her?
It sort of looks like a stasis pod. The grove's almost grown around her. The glass. Where did the glass come from?
Her skin. Her eyes. She looks...
Dead. But she isn't yet. Though whatever's happened to the river, it's slowly killing her. Maybe if I...
Take one more step, and I'll put an arrow through your skull. One for each of you.
I'm sorry. What?
You heard me! Unless you want to test me, I suggest you heed my warnings. Step back!
Who the hell are you to make demands of us? Do you know who we are?
I don't think yelling at the woman that has an arrow trained on you is the best idea, Eldurrino.
As far as I'm concerned, you're three strangers stumbling into a place you shouldn't be, with the intent to harm the only thing holding all of Coldread together. I am sworn to guard the river's heart, and I will do so to my dying breath.
Look, there's no need for any violence. Let us start with introductions. I am Zamoody, the wizard, founder of the Coldread Council. This is Eldurrino,
The blacksmith, chief armorer, and member of the Coldread Council.
And I'm Commander Grim, leader of the armies of Coldread, lord of the dead, advisor to the council. And the only reason I walk these plains is because of that woman.
Which leads me back to my question. Who the hell are you?
I am Misty Rose, river guardian of this grove and chief ranger of Renara's hold. Renara mentioned the council before, but she never described you.
Now that everything's a little calmer, could you tell us what happened to our friend?
Well, first you should know, this didn't just happen overnight. And no, she didn't tell you guys about it because she believed she could handle this on her own. And at the time, the threat didn't seem so severe.
Yep,
Yeah, that sounds like
Renara.
Okay. Anyway, after a few days, we rangers started to notice Renara getting weaker. Started off small, getting out of breath, using more magic than normal. Then over a period of a few weeks, we noticed the river getting darker. And as the sludge began to appear, she just began to wither. That was when we realized she was connected to this river.
I see. Renara's magic is powerful. So whatever could do this to her must be serious.
Yeah, we got that, Thomas Dedison.
Yes, well, do you mind explaining this, for want of a better word, coffin?
We built it to preserve her. This pod keeps her locked in time. Though it took all the magic we had left. This dark river is leeching our power, like it did to hers.
Chronomancy. I see. You have done well to preserve her. I only hope the taint hasn't spread beyond the...
Hey, I thought I heard you lot. I didn't think you guys got out of the castle much.
Friend of yours?
Yes, he is. Now please stop pointing arrows at everyone you meet.
Oh, goodness gravy, is that Renara? This must be where the whole gosh darn thing is coming from.
The whole damn what now?
It's like the beginning of the battle for ColdRead all over again. Well, at least for me it is. All the crops are dying. Whatever this black sludgy stuff is, it's leaching into the ground and ashing everything that's growing.
Ashing?
Yeah, it's like they're dying from natural causes from what I can tell. But it's like way too fast. They're decaying, rotten.
It's accelerating time. That is a very rare power indeed.
Grim, why do you gotta be so ominous and foreboding all the time?
If it's spreading into the ground, then we need to find where it's coming from and put a stop to it. Now.
I'm not leaving Renara's side.
And remain here and guard her. We will find the source of this dark magic.
Oh yeah, squaw time, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Renara intro.
It's not finished.
It's not finished?
There's a second half.
Well, why'd you tell me that? Okay, time out. I might have to do this differently now. Hold on. Why didn't you tell me that? I thought that was the end of the script.
No, the scene 2.
Oh, well, go figure.
The scene 2.
I'm not even gonna bother editing this part out when I put it out on YouTube, so I'm just gonna leave this in. So here's how I'm gonna fix this.
Oh no. I
love this. This because it's just there's no exit music, so I don't know when it ends.
I'm sorry.
It's quite all right. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna share my screen for those of you that are here. So coming up right. Okay, I see the stop. And because I can't just start it in the middle anymore.
Sorry.
It's quite all right. This is
I feel
fine.
like I have to apologize.
We're doing this live. So I'm gonna assume that it's gonna be right about here.
Dark magic.
Oh yeah, squaw time.
Okay, I'm gonna stop that for a second there. All right, everybody good? Everybody in? Yes?
Yeah, go for it. Try it.
Here we go. Well, no, that's the beginning. Here we go.
Oh
That's
yeah,
good.
squaw time.
There it is.
Let's go. Are you crazy? You might be able to grow carrots and sand, but not pumpkins? Because, you know, it's very simple. Pumpkins need a lot of oh, lordy loo.
It's killed everything. The hinterlands. There's nothing here anymore that still lives.
Yeah, well, who the hell is that then?
Why, hello! Fancy meeting you out here.
Do we know you?
No, not at all. Never met in our lives, or is it my life, or even your lives? But the point still stands. It is nice to see some friendly faces out here.
Oh, don't tell me this is more time magic.
I don't know. I feel like I do know her from somewhere, though.
So, Hermit Lady, do you know what's going on around here?
Oh, yes, I know exactly what's happening. Oh, you wanted me to tell you.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was
A
going.
fallen bard and a man long past his sell-by date stumbled through these lands, back when everything was still living.
Bard. Man long past his soul. Ravenmane. Matt.
At first, they seemed to wander aimlessly. I should know, I do it for a living. Plus, I watched them for a time. But then they found something. I couldn't quite tell what, but then 2 became 3, and the rest was history.
They must have found the source of Renara's power. That's why she couldn't fight them off. Oh, Ren.
But wait, what do you mean 2 became 3?
The 3rd one was a tricky one. Couldn't quite tell who or when. His face was unknowable, and I would know. Time does tend to mess with one's face.
Time. I knew only one person who could mess with time like that. But he's long gone.
Not gone long enough, I think. And that's not how time works, Grim.
You know my name?
Of course, though we are yet to meet. Or is that now?
We've just met.
Well, hello!
Oh gosh, no, did I just black out? Are we starting over again?
Ah, then if we're just meeting, I need to tell you something really important.
What?
The Dark Trinity have tainted the heart of the river. They are draining the lands of all forms of magic, energy, life, even. The Man of Matt is the Conjurer, Raven is the War Master, and the third is the mind in which the plan was forged and taught.
I know this man.
You do indeed.
Tempus.
Bingo! Yahtzee! Ding, ding, ding! First prize!
Tempus Fugit.
Well, now I can see this actually
There
ended.
you go.
Thank you so much. That wonderful intro was done by Renara. Let me go ahead and turn this off. Holy mackerel. So that's the latest chapter in the Cold Read saga, part of season
Indeed
2.
it is.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
yes. And thank you for all of your hard work. I know you put that together quicker than you normally would have liked.
Yeah.
Am I
People
sure
had,
it's
like-
done, Walter? I don't know.
Yes, yes, yes. 100% yes, it's finished. Don't worry.
No. Well, and yeah, Jet, that sounded awesome. I heard Pie Lord. I heard obviously, Eldurrino was in there. Can't wait to hear what happens next.
Who was the last person?
I think we're
I'm
good.
going to leave that to you to find out.
I figured.
I am not telling you. I will say this. You know him. You do know him. Very much so.
Interesting.
Okay. Fair.
Well, all four of us, bar Sarah, will know this person.
Interesting.
It would be really weird if I did know, and I was just holding out.
That'd be really weird if you do know who this person. Yeah.
So welcome everybody. Welcome to Cold Read the Podcast. If you're here live, if you're watching us on YouTube or anywhere where you get your podcast, thank you so much for being here. We absolutely appreciate it. Again, another wonderful entry in our Cold Read saga. Can't wait to hear the next part. Shame that I have to wait a whole month to get there, but that's fine. So as we like to do every particular week, so let's check in with everybody. Elephant in the room, Misty's not here. We wish Misty a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy
2 days ago?
birthday. Da, 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 da.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you so much. She followed me earlier, so you're around, Misty, and thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. But yeah, let's check on the other side of the world. Renara, how was your week?
Busy. Very busy, because I had planned a lot of things, thinking I wasn't meant to do the intro this week, and then kind of had to do the intro and all of the other stuff. So, yeah, so most of it has been demo reel related.
Oh, yay.
In the
Okay.
sense of, yeah, I have recorded all of the audio for that. I just had a meeting with Jeff.
Yeah.
About it. I literally forgot his name for a minute. Had a meeting with Jeff. I've just got to figure out what order I want what in, and I have to cut down my 8 to 6 because he said I can fit 6, not 8, and I'm there going, I don't know which ones to cut out because I really like all of them. So I'm doing that. I will now actually be going back to the Foley for chapter 3 for my own projects, and I am going to spend a bit of time on actually just that's my next focus thing. I'll do my demo reel, and then I'm just going to focus on my own projects for the foreseeable next few months. So may not do as many auditions, but I will be doing a lot of production side of stuff, I think, for the next foreseeable few months. Other than that, it's
Okay.
trying to fit Dungeons and Dragons in as well. It was a bit of a nightmare. So
Gotcha.
yeah, but that's it.
I like Lovable Rogue in chat is saying, compromise, use 7. Yeah, that'll work. Are we still on track to finish this demo reel before the Thanksgiving?
Yes. Yes. Oh no, not Thanksgiving. I did say Christmas. I specifically said Christmas.
Trying to push.
So,
As long as we get to review it.
Fair
yes,
enough.
you will 100% get to review it. It will be you like it will go live. You got words. You will hear it first before it goes live. That's what I'm trying to say. There we go.
Gotcha.
Was that an official Ren Rambles for this episode?
No,
Oh, okay,
that was
gotcha.
That was a
That's a
side
small
hustle.
one.
This is
Gotcha.
that's a small one.
Perfectly fine. There's a reason I'm asking, but that's fine. Very cool.
Oh, God.
Welcome, and we're happy to be here. Birnam, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm also been pretty busy. This time of year's usually pretty wild because there's like my birthday, and then the week after that is Halloween, and then the week after that is our wedding anniversary, and it just kind of never stops until Christmas.
Wow, you really must like fall.
Yeah, it's I do. It's but yeah, had my birthday, got a bunch of new audio equipment from my wife and family.
Yep.
So we've got shiny new microphone, mic shields, all the accoutrements.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's been really good. I've managed to do a few auditions with the new setup. Still getting used to it, but it's been good.
Well, good.
Awesome.
Glad to hear it. Are you using the new mic now? Because you do sound a bit
I am
different.
using the new mic now.
Nice. Jet
Damn.
says Birnam season. I like this. We're gonna start calling it Birnam season from now on.
Yeah, I like that.
That works.
Absolutely.
Well, just like October, November. That's
There you go.
Yeah. Eldurrino, how's it going, my friend?
Well, it was also my birthday 2 months ago. Sorry, I just wanted to throw in a joke there. No, it's been good. I have not had time to do any auditions this week because I am very lazy and very indecisive when it comes to working on my own projects. And so I have been heavily revising my rock opera script. So we're now up to 28 pages. We are probably gonna go upwards towards like 35-ish. It's wild. I've been having a lot of fun writing things. I took an entire section that involves Renara's character and just completely rewrote it because I was not happy with how it was turning out. It was very like gaggy and like it didn't do the character justice. So I rewrote it to be a lot better. And I was hoping Renara would have read it so that she can tell me if she is okay with how it is, like on a scale of 1 to 10. But yeah, you do that
Tomorrow.
when you
Tomorrow.
Okay.
I will
course.
read it tomorrow.
I believe you. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that. And in the meantime, I have also started recording my guitar tracks that I need, as well as my vocal tracks for a few of the songs. I shared a quick sample with the cast members so far. It wasn't mastered. That's something I'm still learning how to do. But like the past couple of days, I've started mastering it, and it's going to be amazing. Like, I really can't wait to share it with everybody. Unfortunately, though, I have less time than I would like because, again, I have been revising everything. And so I'm trying to get the script finished as soon as humanly possible while still making it as good as I possibly can. And then that way I can send it to everyone, say, get your lines in before December. We'll try and get the songs done before then as well. And then everything will be done before the 19th, which is when it's supposed to premiere. So we are down against the wire.
Yeah.
And but it's okay because I have learned over time that my best ideas come from when I'm under immense pressure. So I'm super excited to show it to everybody once it's done. Hopefully I will not make it longer than 35 pages because right now we're probably pushing like the 45 minute mark, but yeah, either way, it'll be fun. I'm excited.
You know what? The less that I have to do on our season finale, I'm happy with. So if you want to make it 45 minutes long, I'll be happy to sit here and watch party.
Actually, I'm not going to say anything.
No, that's fine.
Because there's a surprise in there that I'll just say the full thing's not going to be in the episode. That's all.
Right. Walter is joining you, saying pro at finding side projects to procrastinate from doing what I should be doing. So, yeah. For me personally, busy time. It's the beginning of the month. Hard for me at work. Hard to be able to find time. Did a ton of Voices.com audition, and I finally. So for the last 2 weeks, I have not been shortlisted for like anything. I was trying to figure out, is it an audio issue? What's going on? What's wrong? All of a sudden, like I got 2 of them in a row. I was like, okay, streak's broken. After 2 weeks, I'm fine. I'll just sit and wait and not change anything at this moment. So, other project wise, I've got some stuff that I finally have to get back with somebody. I didn't mention. So the Skyrim, one of the first things that I did was a Skyrim character called Telmatarian that is now available on Nexus. So 2,000 lines went into that fully voiced character. I'm hoping to download it and start playing it on stream here soon, because it'll be really weird to listen to myself in the middle of a video game while I'm trying to play the video game. So that
was a companion mod.
Yeah, it's a companion mod.
Nice.
So it's like from beginning to end. I remember being in the booth for hours and hours just trying to get it all together. Ton of fun. So looking forward to trying that. But before I got to that point, Mattman got me a copy of Darkest Dungeon 2, and I have been very, very interested in that game, and it's just played it a lot yesterday, and I'm hoping to play it a little bit later. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, busy times. A lot of me time. I'll say that. A lot of me time. So, let's get to our guest. So, can I call you Sazzle or should I call you Sarah?
You can call me Sarah.
Sarah.
Or Sazzle. Either's fine.
Well, welcome, Sarah. Sarah, how has your week been?
My week's been okay. So my grown-up adult job has been busy. My like main game development and a little side project that we're working on that links to that game. They're both kind of progressing at a good speed. We're kind of, we're in kind of alpha, in between alpha and beta of our main project, Royal Duality. So that's kind of coding, getting some sound kind of optimized so it's as small as possible and as good quality as possible for packaging up. And we're kind of writing scripts and casting roles for a kind of sister project to the game as well. But that's like deliberately smaller. We've kind of done like no more than 20,000 words for the whole project, whereas our main game is about 70,000 words. So they're visual novels. So that's kind of like how we are measuring it ourselves, like how many words there is. So yeah, really exciting. And it's good because coding can be a bit monotonous. So it's good to have something a bit more creative to kind of keep that balance between like what you're creatively doing and what you're producing to keep that kind of healthy. So yeah, all good. No complaints.
Well, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here. So we generally like to ask our guests initially is, how did you get into, and I know you're not a direct voice actor, so I'm not going to say into voice acting, but how did you get into the voice acting industry?
Yeah, okay, so really like for a long time, probably since like I went to sixth form college, so like 16, 17 years old, I did media studies as a level, AS level, and I was really interested in like kind of radio production and stuff, but it was narrative that I was interested in. I enjoyed the sound production, but I was like, I love the concept of like making stories that are in an audio format, because your voice actors can look like whatever, but the voice and the performance they project, I just think that's really, really interesting and compelling. So I was really interested in that. And then my university degree was in like new media, and I did a whole kind of year module in kind of online digital narrative. And I found that a lot of people really zoned in on what could be done visually. But the thing I was really interested in was, what can you do audio that you maybe wouldn't be able to do in other mediums, like, you know, audio dramas, podcasts. I wanted to kind of experiment with sound and gameplay. So I kind of messed around with that for my degree, to be honest. That was mostly what I did. And then I finally kind of found that I got to a place during the big panini where I had more time on my hands than I would usually have. And me and the person who's helping me create Royal Duality, we both were like, you know, we wanted to make this game for a couple of years and we've always said we never had the time. Well, we've got plenty of time. So we decided to start, and we were kind of thinking, you know, the visuals are great. I wanted to get back into this kind of focus on audio and kind of adding drama to the performances. So we put up an audition, and we didn't know the appetite for it. We didn't know, you know, how open-hearted voice actors are. I was like, you know, people might not audition. It might not be that interesting, so we'll just wait and see what happens. And then we were like overwhelmed by the talent and the generosity of people's time. You know, we said this is a passion project. There are lots of competing passion projects, so you know, we were like, it'll be no more than 1,000 words. Submit your, submit all of your stuff. Let us know. The talent was phenomenal. It was really hard to pick the actors in the end, but then, you know, they've been really giving and accommodating of us. You know, it's our first game that we've done. We've tried to run it as kind of agile and smoothly as possible, but they've been very accommodating of us being quite new to things. So yeah, that's kind of how we got into it. And for me, I was just really pleasantly surprised at how open and friendly it was. So, you know, sometimes I do a little bit of art kind of on the side for fun.
Mhm.
And that is a very constructive kind of group. So people are quite constructive with their criticism, but they're not always easy at giving praise necessarily. But I find that voice actors is a very warming and welcoming community on the whole. I find that people are very receptive. When they get feedback, they're very positive about the feedback they receive. And, you know, we didn't have anybody disputing what we gave them from directions perspective. And the amount of effort that goes in to those auditions, we really felt that when we heard the auditions. So just a really creative and talented group of people who are very accommodating, very generous to us as, you know, beginners. So yeah, no, it's been a really good experience that I've had so far.
Catching up on chat, Stephotic says, shout out to Helen the Melon 22, co-creater.
Yeah,
And also, Sarah, you said agile. I'm sure there's an inside joke to that. Still to this day, the most organized project I've ever been a part of. I love to hear that. You mentioned a casting call. How did you get your actors together? Where did you put out your casting call?
Yeah, so we did a cast call club because it was our first kind of call we'd done. I didn't really know where to go. I was quite lucky. I kind of had spoken to someone who'd done a fan dub on YouTube. I'm not going to say their name because I don't know if they'll want me to say it. And I was like, where does one go to get voice actors? We're not paying, you know, just wanted to understand what was respectful, what was the polite thing to do. And he was like, oh, do a cast call, say that it's free, be really transparent, you shouldn't have any problems. So I work in kind of IT project management in my real life job. So I was like, you know, I think collaboration is very important, but transparency is even more important. So, you know, we committed to this many words, and we said to people, if you want to do more, then, you know, that's great for us, but this is what you will do. And we said, you know, what can you expect from us as producers? And what would we like from you in return? Like, you know, we just want it to be equal. This isn't about me owning your stuff and me being like, oh, it's not good enough. We wanted people to get invested in the characters they played. We didn't just want to be like, oh, here's some lines, go and read them, and then be critical about, oh, that's not what I expected. You know, because you're actors, you're talented. It's your profession. It's not mine. You know, I write script and I conceive characters, but we ask you to be voice actors because you are actors and we're not. So, you know, some of the lines we got given back, I was like, this is so much better than I anticipated it would be when I wrote it in my room. You know, some of the performances really brought characters to life that I was like, yeah, you know, they're an important part of the story. You write them in because they make the story work really well, but then the performances really added so much to that. So yeah, I was like thoroughly entertained, especially some of the sound effects we asked for. We had people like running up and down stairs to sound tired enough. And I was like, I've heard of method acting, I've heard of Stanislavski given if. this is not quite the same. This is literally people running up and downstairs going, I sound tired now. So yeah, like that amount of effort was like such a joy to listen to, because you come up with these things, you know, during the panini. I live alone, so I was sat alone for like 6 weeks, didn't see anybody, but I was like getting all of this like love for these characters that we come up with from all over the world, and that was like really gratifying as a creator to hear people put so much effort in. So yeah, no, it was fantastic. Cast Call Club was really good for us. We got lots of, you know, high quality auditions, really, really good setups. You know, I was surprised by the quality of setup people had at home, because, you know, I'd never done this before. So yeah, it was really good. It worked really well for us.
If you were to be able, okay, let me ask you this first off before I get to that point. How many people would you say auditioned for these roles in general? How many auditions did you have to listen to?
So we had, let's say there were about 14 characters. We had about 120 auditions.
Per or total?
So total.
Okay.
We found that some characters that had kind of easy to understand roles got more auditions than those that were maybe a bit more cryptic. So we did find that there were some characters we were struggling. We initially were kind of encouraging people from certain countries to do certain roles, but we kind of got rid of that, because I was like, you know, this is about performance. Performance is more important than where this person's from, and the accent, you know, it's a bonus, but it's the performance that we wanted. So yeah, it was interesting. Some of the characters that we attracted a lot of attention from were like the quite personality driven characters. But then we got some phenomenally good performances from those kind of more contained characters. So yeah, we did find that there were certain characters who got lots and lots of auditions, and you know, it was very hard to pick some of the, you know, final ones. We were listening to like maybe 2 or 3 and going, I don't want to say no to anyone, but I have to pick one. So then we kind of then had we then had a reserve list, and if there were any additional roles or future roles in other projects, we wanted to ask the people who'd already done such good auditions to come back, rather than necessarily do another cast call. So yeah, that's kind of how we ran it, really.
Stephonix also says she listened to and commented on every audition.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's super nice of you, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's super nice of anyone to audition for us when you're not asking for money and it's time. And I think, you know, they don't know these characters. They have no investment in it other than what I wrote down. So the least I can do is give some feedback on, is it the setup that maybe wasn't as good as we would have hoped? Was it the performance? You know, was it whatever it might be? Like, you know, if they're going to do that for free for me, you know, me and Helen can definitely give you some feedback for free for doing it for us. So yeah, I don't see that as any, you know, skin off my nose to do that.
So
it's very admirable.
Absolutely. 100%. So the initial question that led up to that for me was going to be, if you could give one piece of advice to those 120 people that auditioned, what would it be?
So I think my piece of advice would be, direction from the creators is very good, but if you feel like a strong resonation with that character and you want to do a few takes that are maybe not like what was written, you might really surprise the person who's giving you that feedback, and it might be in a really good way. I mean, we had one character in particular where I had something in my mind and I was comparing it to a character in another game, and I was like, I want it to sound like this. And then we got an audition that was completely different. Absolutely nothing like. And you know what? I sat and mulled on it, and I was like, you know what? They've actually understood what I wrote better than what I had in my head. So I put like, this character is not a charismatic, attractive dude. And the voice in my head was like, not that. It was quite sultry. It was quite deep. And I was like, oh yeah. And then the audition, I was like, no, he's read my intention better than what I was imagining in my head. So, you know, if you read something, you think, actually, I think I can really bring something different to this that's going to work, I would encourage you to do that. I would do that.
Nice.
Interesting. I had something very similar with the project I'm currently doing right now, in that, because I'm doing an audiobook, audio drama version of the Throne of Glass novels at the minute, and I had this very, very, very specific voice I had for a specific character called Ansel, and like, her voice was a lot lower and a lot more like smoky. But then I got this audition through, and it was one of the things if I had to pick between it was one of those things of like I had 2 voice actors, and it's like I'm going to take a punt with this one because she knows I'm feeling it more with this one rather than yes, the other one was what I'd imagined it sounding, but it didn't feel like she understood the character. Whereas the other voice was like, I feel this character, she's feeling the character, but it's not exactly what I thought. So I went with the punt with that one, and I have not been disappointed so far. So I can empathize entirely on that front.
Chat wants to know. Chat is very curious who this character was. Jet thinks it was Christian. Stefanik thinks that no. Okay, so there's a no there.
It wasn't.
Okay.
So it was Blackheath, if you want to know, just so that to let everybody know it was Blackheath. But yeah, no, I think that on the whole, like, I think sometimes creators can be really precious about what they make. So like it's theirs and it's their baby, and my kind of feeling on that is like, if you put it out there and you want to share it, then you need to be receptive to what people give back to you, particularly if you cast an actor to play a role. Like, you know, you're trusting them to portray this well for you. So you have to have faith in those actors to do that because they are actors and you are a writer. So I think sometimes you can get too close to what you're writing and you might need to take a step back and listen to their portrayal. And you're actually, reader who isn't me, who knows this entire character's past, present, and future, might resonate with this better than what I've got in my head.
You got it. It's a really all in caps, 2 exclamation points, 2 question marks just out of that. So it's and Jet also says my evil buddy. So, so let's talk about Royal Duality real quick. Now you've piqued my interest. What type of game is this?
So it's a dark fantasy visual novel. And the story superficially is about a wizard who gets kidnapped by some wizards and some fae go to save him. But there's a meta narrative that there is a narrator who is telling you this story, and he's like, well, the choices that you make are going to change this story. But as the story goes on, you think that this narrator is quite friendly. Turns out maybe he has some, alliances and allegiances that he's maybe not disclosed fully. And if you complete the whole game, every single thing, you get this weird meta experience with the narrator who's like, I've got no job. Well, you've done everything in this game. There's nothing left for me to do. Bye. And when you reboot the game, he's not there. The whole game is gone.
Okay,
and
that's cool.
Like this.
The sister project is him somewhere else in a different realm.
I love this.
AU, where he's kind of took the characters he liked from the original game, and he's like, I'm writing a story, I'm not a narrator, screw you. He's picked up all these characters, and he's like, I'm going to put them in this new world, basically play The Sims with some of the characters from the other game, and pair them up with some modern counterparts. So it's fun, because you have like this very morally ambiguous character who's pretending to be your pal, and he's giving you all this sound advice, and then you get about halfway through the game and you're like, but what if he's actually not so nice and this is a bit dodgy? So yeah, that's kind of the premise of the game.
Wow.
Sounds very like the Stanley Parable.
It has that vibe.
Yeah. I was thinking,
also,
yeah.
The Dark Trilogy pictures, so like the Man of Medan, like the narrator who's a bit snarky when you don't make the best choice, and he's like, I mean, okay then. So yeah, and you know, we were very, very lucky because the voice actor who plays this narrator, it's a very superb performance from like the kind of understated wit that progressively gets a bit more edgy. He gets angrier the more bad choices you make. He gets to the point where he's really blasé. There's 5 different endings, and the less you do well, the more he's like, well, I don't remember and you don't care, so I'll just make it an ending up. So he kind of just goes off the rails and just decides he's going to make his own story, and it's like, that shouldn't have been how this ended based on all the stuff I got. He's like, yeah, I don't care though. And you don't either, because you played this badly, so what the hell? So yeah, it's fantastic, really, really fun.
It's fascinating. Like that type of meta shift is really like, it reminds me if anyone's played Doki Doki Literature Club, about how like the game changes. Like it actually changes the structure of the files within the game. Like that type of thing is genius, and I love people that do that. It fascinates me.
I think like I've seen in the chat one said like Undertale stuff, and I think that there are so many brilliantly conceived indie games that are out there that work with the typical, like, whatever that genre's typical thing is, so visual novel, RPG, whatever it might be, and they subvert them through this like driven narrative rather than but they like incorporate the mechanic, but it's like, you know what's great about this? It's the story. The mechanics add a lot of bells and whistles, but it's like the story is just so good. And you know, is the story of Royal Duality good? We'll find out. I'm not going to say it is because I kind of half came up with it, but I think that, you know, it will be a fun experience, and it's going to be free to play as well, because it's a passion project.
Nice.
So yeah, it's
Okay.
free to play. We got lots of Creative Commons music. Again, there's so many good pieces of free music you can get now. I think that's changed a lot of capability and ability to make your own stuff. There's so many great things you can use for free. So yeah, we've been really lucky to find stuff that just hits the spot of the genre that we're looking to make games in.
Let me catch up with chat a little bit here. Stefanik says, Sarah managed to create a game that turns the bad guys are British thing are on its head. All the bad guys are American in this one. Nice.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Matt is really digging the concept. Matt, by the way, he does content for on YouTube for Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of us have been in the particular production. So I'm sure you're writing notes, Matt, and that's fine. Lovable Rogue says, I love how much you smile when you talk, Sarah. It's very infectious. I struggled to open my Clint Eastwood eyes. Apparently, Lovable Rogue is your narrator.
He is, yeah. Lovable Rogue is our narrator, and he has a great voice.
Yeah, okay, so Stefanix also says his voice sounds like if Richard Attenborough and Morgan Freeman had a child.
Oh, wow.
Can't wait to hear this. Woo.
Nice.
Jet definitely agrees that it'll be an interesting game. So is there a projected date? Do you guys have a goal date? You're project manager, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, we do. So originally we said kind of like end of 2021, but you know, our alpha testers and our beta testers, they're volunteers as well, and we need to, you know, do things at their pace, not just when we want to do stuff. So it's more likely to be Q1 of 2022, but that's okay. You know, one of the things that we've been really keen on in this project is that games should be fun, and you shouldn't rush them because you committed to some arbitrary date in time. And you know, to get the best out of everyone, whether that's a tester, whether that's a designer, whether that's a voice actor, give people the time they need to make the stuff good. Like, there is no point in just having a date and a line in the sand because you're like, oh, it should be out by then. You know, people have things going on, things are changing all the time because of the panini. So, you know, we need to be really flexible ourselves, and not just think about the date that we have in mind, but, you know, people, you know, we had some people at some points who said, you know, I actually don't like the way that take sat, can I do it again? And I was like, well, yeah, like, you're going to be playing this and showing it to people you care about. You don't want to be like, oh God, I hate that take. That is horrible. I don't want to play this game because I hate that single take that I did. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I keep saying panini. I do keep saying the panini. So yeah, but like, you know, it's our project because we ask people to voice things, but it's their characters that they've added their voice to. So I would hate you to have done all of this recording and then be like, oh, but I hated that line. I don't want to play this because of that one line that I hate. So, you know, we've had that approach with every different role. So whether you're a tester or a graphic designer or a coder, which is me, you know, I don't want to go back and be like, oh God, I hate this. So yeah, I just want people to play it and be like, I'm really proud of this and I really enjoyed being in it, because, you know, we're all being creative, we're all doing it for free, we all want to get a good thing out of it at the end of the day.
I think that applies to voice acting as well, in the sense of we all have this imaginary deadline in our heads of things that we need to get done and want to do, but you don't want to sacrifice the joy behind it, because if you're not enjoying it, then that will make it suffer. And I think we've all done that in regards to, we've been like given a script, or we've got something we want to make ourselves and we're like, right, I need to get it done here, and then you pressure yourself into that little thing of some people work good in that pressure, like Eldurrino. I don't. And it's that thing of you can hear the difference between a stressed voice actor and a happy voice actor, and it's that thing of I've heard it in my own recordings. I will open it up to the floor of everyone. I'm pretty sure. Has anyone else noticed that in theirs?
I think like something that I can reflect on. I feel all performance arts, whether they be acting, voice acting, music, and musicianship, like there is definitely a sweet spot when someone is in between, like I'm in my groove, I'm in my flow, I'm really immersed in this character, and I'm feeling like I can give my best performance rather than, oh, do you know what, in 2 days I have to turn this over. And the performance can still be good, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like you can't work well under pressure, but I think some voice actors and me, you know, as someone who writes a story, you can write something under pressure and be like, you know, it's serviceable, it's fine. But then sometimes, but sometimes you'll be like, if I just give it another 2 days and I like rewrite this sentence, a clunky line of dialogue becomes an absolute one-liner of, you know, incredibleness. I mean, one of the lines in this game, someone has been using it as their like little status on Discord, and every time I see it, I'm like, I wrote that line. So I'm like, yeah, I wrote that line. So it's that, like, you can't really rush creativity. You can make creative stuff that's great. I'm not saying you can't do that, but if you want that really, like, this is my pinnacle, this is as good as I get, you do kind of sometimes have to give that a bit of time. I mean, for me, because I don't work under pressure very well, I'm just like, oh God, get it out the door. And that's kind of what I get paid to do 9 to 5. So I don't like doing it in my 5 to 9.
Yeah, and you'll know as that in the video game industry at large, that the crunch time to get to a deadline, that can just kill a game because then you end up releasing it before it's ready. Like
Skyrim was not finished when it came out.
Unfinished storylines, and it never gets received well.
Well, and nobody really wants to sit there and just, you know, you have to wait for the patches, you have to wait for everything else to start coming out. So
Oh, I have a question. What is your thoughts on like pre-released games, like the ones that are released but they're not finished? Like Baldur's Gate 3 is the prime example of that. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing in relation to the video game industry as like what might be done more in the future? Because I'm seeing a lot. I see a lot more of these not completely finished games being pre-released, and it's almost like they expect the consumer to have a super updated PC in order to keep up with that. And I personally don't like that. But like, to a degree, I can understand how it's helpful in regards of you get user feedback and you can change the game before you release it and optimize and everything. But I just wanted to know where you stood on that and whether you were ever thinking of doing something either similar or not.
Well, I think there's a couple of avenues of that as well, because it's a bit like early releases in order to promote. So I've seen like people being like, oh, I'm going to give you this early access version of this game because I want it to be streamed and I want, you know, feedback and I want to build a bit of stuff. And I think that my attitude with that is, if you are kind of testing with a group of trusted people and you know they're going to give you decent feedback, then I think, you know, do it with that trusted group who actually kind of know about it and they're going to give you some kind of decent feedback. If you're releasing it in the hope that you're going to either get loads of flames or loads of praise, it's like, well, what are you doing that for? Like, do you not want to promote it properly? Do you want to just get people warmed up early? Like, what is the motivation for doing that? Like, if you just don't want to pay some testers to do it properly, or you don't want to ask some testers to do it properly for you, I think the motivation for me is always important. What are you doing it for? Are you doing it for promotion? Are you doing it to kind of cut some corners on your QA? Like, that would be my understanding. Like, are you doing it because you're like, I can't source enough people with enough different PCs, so I'm just going to pre-release? And again, I'm sure different people will do it for different reasons and they'll have different motivations. So for me, I would say it depends what the motivation is as to why that's being done.
Fair enough. Good to know.
Would I do that personally? No. But my reason of not doing that is because, again, if people have given their all into graphics and performance, I want that to be the finished thing that they're happy with, that they want it to be as a complete thing. I think what you don't want is someone to criticize an element of it and be like, oh, well, it's not finished yet. And it's like, well, if you know it's not finished and you're not doing it for test purposes, what are you doing it for?
I could have a very long discussion with you about early access and pre-release games, but I won't. But I could.
But you won't.
Yes.
How are you looking to release the game? Is it something that we're going to look forward to on Steam, or is this just...
Yeah, our idea is to do itch and Steam.
Gotcha.
They're like our main avenues. Now, something that we're thinking of doing in the future is we're going to make an audio drama of the game. So the reason for this is because there are lots of people who want to hear the story, but they don't play games. They might have maybe motor issues. They maybe visually can't enjoy the novel, but they're like, oh, I still want to interact with this story and understand it. So we're going to make an audio version of the novel once the visual novel is finished. But the way of telling that story is very different because the narrator mechanic is unique to the game.
Right.
So similarly, there will be a character who is unique to the audio drama who tells the story kind of in a tavern, so that you're getting a nice product that can be done alongside, but also you're getting a different experience from both because so my actual job, I work in project management, but I'm really passionate about inclusion and digital inclusion. So, you know, how can you make not just like equal things, but equitable in the terms of the experience that you're getting? So it's not like, oh yeah, here's something with some really good, captions read. It's like, no, I want an equitable experience from this game to have a really satisfying audio version of this tale that is unique because it has different things that it needs to do compared to what the game would do. So yeah, we're planning to do that, but it will take a long time. The story needs to be tuned because the narrator is different. So they have different motivations and different points of view. So you're rewriting kind of an already established story from a different narrator's point of view. Narrators may be a little bit faulty because they were kind of there. So, you know, you can't just like lift and shift, because our idea originally was, oh, we'll get the audio from the game and we'll lift it and shift it and make it into an audio drama. But then we were like, no, actually, that's not satisfying to listen to. And B, why would you ruin that opportunity to maybe look at the way the story is told?
Yeah, I think the thing the thing that really stood out for me there was saying equitable experience, not equitable content. It's,
Yeah, because I think, you can really enjoy, so like for instance things like the Witcher series. So my first interaction with the Witcher was the games, and then I listened to the audiobook because funnily enough I'm really slow at reading. I am like very, very slow at reading. I do read, it takes a long time, but I listened to the audiobook and I was like, you know what, the way this is told is so compelling because of the narration and the way it was delivered. It was fantastically done, very different to the game and the way Geralt is in that game. And I was like, this is an equitable but totally different experience than this game. So I was like, I would like to do that with these characters because they're really fun.
Yeah, and this is a wonderful, wonderful idea to be able to put it out. And yeah, 70,000 words probably won't work as an audiobook the way it is. So I'm glad that you're going to sit there and rework it.
It'll take a while, but it's fine. It's fine.
So one question that we always ask our guests, and I've always found these very interesting responses. If you were to talk to yourself when you were younger, right before you started, what advice would you have for yourself?
That's a really good question. I think what I would tell myself is to persevere with what might seem uncool. So like when I was younger, I liked folk music. I liked anime at the wrong time. Like before it got quite cool, I was kind of a little bit behind. Nobody in my class really liked it. I tried writing and I was terrible. I was really, really bad. And I had this really horrible like reaction to my own bad writing where I was like, oh, fan culture's rubbish. You shouldn't exploit stuff this way. You shouldn't do this because of my own bad form. I kind of projected this onto other people creating their own stuff, and I was like, well, why would you waste your time doing that? And I wish I'd told my younger self, do you know what, you should be more respectful of those around you doing what they want to do. It's not hurting you any, but persevere in those things that you want to do, because I'd have gotten better much earlier if I'd just been a bit more willing to try. Because I had this period where I was like, oh, I'm good at music and I'm not good at this other stuff, so why am I even doing it? So I kind of had a 10-year hiatus where I didn't write anything, because I was just like, oh, I can't do it, and look at all these people online writing all this stuff. And then I was like, Sarah, stop being pretentious, just mellow a little bit. And I needed to do it the way that most people do. I just had to get old and chill out a little bit. So yeah, persevere, let people do what they want to do, let them enjoy how they want to be creative, but also just do stuff for you. It doesn't have to be publicly shared. It doesn't have to be a brilliant, piece of finished work. Just sketch, play, have fun, and eventually you will hone your craft just by doing it more. But yeah, just be a bit braver and do it straight away.
I love it. That's very, very good advice.
I won't quote the meme. I won't quote the meme.
Well, I'd love to hear it. What meme are we talking about, Renara?
Oh, you know exactly what meme I'm talking about, and I'm not going to do it now.
Are we waiting till the end? Fair
I'm
enough.
guessing that's what it is.
Yeah. That's what I'm guessing too. Henry Cavill, no, Henry Cavill did not do the. Henry Cavill only came on for the Netflix stuff, so he's not the audio narrator for the books. Now I'm super curious because I'm gonna have to listen. I have not listened to The Witcher. I've only played the games. I didn't get a chance to watch the Netflix series, so no, I'm gonna have to go do that.
Netflix shows are moody.
They're very moody.
Ouch. Okay, I'm sorry. I will.
Sorry. I feel really bad now. Sorry.
No. Not at all. Not at all. Well, Sarah, I thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. Love seeing this side because it's a completely different side of what we're normally, because we're the actors, we're handed the script, to see what the other side has to go through. We've talked to Matt when it comes to casting somebody in CCC, so it's always good to see the other side of that too.
I think one thing. Sorry. I was going to say one thing that I'd really like to say to voice actors is thank you for taking an interest in our projects and giving so much when you audition. I think that there are some project runners who can be quite critical. I've seen feedback on some cast calls myself that have made me think that's a bit abrasive. That's a little bit unnecessary, but from the perspective of me and the co-creator of Royal Duality, seeing people take an interest in our characters and then making them theirs, I love that. I absolutely love people taking an interest and making it theirs and having a bit of ownership in it, because we want to make stuff together that's great. I could have just written a story and published it on some random website if that's what I'd wanted to do, but that's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to share the experience, and the more people who are involved, the better things can be. So I wanted to thank voice actors for doing these things for free, for doing these voice things, not sure if they're right for the role and giving it a go. I know that it can be quite anxiety inducing. I know that it's really heartbreaking when you don't get those roles. I understand that. I've seen people on Twitter saying, I really wanted that role and I didn't get it, or I'm never getting any roles. But me and the co-creator of Royal Duality, we love to hear your auditions, and we're so grateful that you do that for us. So thank you for doing that for us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. You're investing so much time into this, and you're giving voice actors a project. You're giving literally voice actors 70,000 words to play with. So it's a lot. It's super nice of you. I will. What we've always said here is you didn't get denied the role. Your interpretation just wasn't right for it, and that way you won't feel so bad about getting rejected. There is no rejection. You did your best. It just didn't work for that particular project right now. Sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, we when I said, we had some really, really good actors, and we had so many that I was like, we can't give them to everybody. And I think that some people really enjoy the we gave feedback on some of the roles, and we were like, we really enjoyed this performance, please come back. If we have other cast calls, please come back and give us another go. I mean, some of the ones we had, we ended up having slightly extra roles, and I was like, oh hey, you did a great audition for blah. I know this is literally nothing like that character, but we really liked your voice. Could you please come back? So yeah, and I just wished sometimes that some of the other creators of projects were as open with some of their creations. Sometimes I see comments where they're like, "Oh no, do it like this," or "You didn't do it right," and I wish that people trusted their stuff with voice actors, because I'm like, that's their job. You know, you're giving them a role to do, but they're actors like any other actor. Like, they are good at portraying characters, and we're not. That's why we hire you, because I mean, my dulcet tones don't match anyone in our game. So I'm like, that's why I'm giving them to all these other people.
Yeah, for me, it's the lack of feedback. Like, even some critical feedback sometimes would be better than just nothing. So hearing that, you know, you'd super appreciate people auditioning and give feedback and stuff, that's very encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, when we got so many auditions, I think people were like, "Oh my god, that must have been a pain," and I was like, you don't know how exciting it is when you write a character and you see 13 people have auditioned for this person who you made up, and you're like, "Oh my god, like 13 people want to be this person." That you know, that should be a joyous thing, you know, regardless of how good or not good they are. It's like, I wrote these lines and someone wants to do this for us. Like, that's incredible. It's incredible. And voice actors need to know how incredible that is for creators to hear that.
Pylord is saying, I didn't expect to get the feels the second I joined. Thank you, Sazzle. Jet says, thank you for trusting me with your sweet demon lad. Ooh, interesting. And then Stiffotix also says, thank you for letting me seethe unhindered. Okay.
Interesting.
You're welcome. Whenever you want to seethe, you just let me know.
But yeah, no, definitely. Hopefully, when you guys release, maybe we can have you back. We can talk about it a little bit more. I'd love to hear how this is going, how you've progressed, and because I mean, you've got 4 months in estimated time. And again, I wouldn't rush you. I wouldn't expect anybody else to as well.
Engineer minutes.
Yeah. Hey, who knows? Yeah, Christmas might come up, or January. It's like, oh, all of a sudden it's out. But yeah, keep us informed. We'd love to hear about this as it comes along. But thank you for giving us your time and for being here and letting us pick your brain and hear the other side of the booth, we'll say, in this particular case.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I've been hogging the mic and I apologize. Any questions from the rest of the panel before we go?
What is your favorite pizza topping?
Yeah, that's the always one that you go with.
Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna probably say something quite controversial. I like spicy chicken as a pizza topping.
Ooh.
It's not controversial. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't say pineapple. Like, I wasn't.
Yeah,
like,
well, that was what I was
split the room
thinking.
in half and be like, I love pineapples. No, spicy chicken. If I can get it, that's my favorite.
Nice.
I like pineapple.
I like pineapple. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but
We're not starting the pineapple on pizza argument. One,
as we're trying
no
to close the
time.
show.
2, because I'll win.
My taste buds, my choice. Don't yuck my yum. All right.
There you go.
who's interested? Is it Misty who's next? Somebody's gonna have to let her know. Yeah, Misty 2 is gonna be coming up. Yeah, pineapple pizza is good. Okay, thank you, Pyler. But I've got somebody that's on my side. I'm happy with this. But yeah, so we're coming up in a week. We're gonna have our own, and then after, our next interview is gonna be Brittany from Saturday Morning TV, who's been on TikTok doing their auditions. Another very interesting. I love Lamp. Thank you, Lovable Rogue. Another audition or another guest that we're definitely looking into. But if you have any ideas for the show, if you want us to listen to any auditions, we will give you constructive criticism. We will not in any way make you feel bad. We want this to help you. Want to help you on your journey. ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com. ColdReadthePodcast@gmail. We also now have the Discord up and running. Go ahead and I will put the link at the bottom. / Discord if anybody wants to join who's here. That's it. Thank you, everybody. All right. Until next time, Renara.
I can't remember what I usually say.
Oh my god.
The choke.
No, the thing is, I think Sarah's already said most of it. That's the thing. In the sense of, keep making more stuff. Don't be so high on yourself. Keep being have fun making stuff, and don't stop. Always one foot in front of the other. Learn to rest and pause if you're too burnt out, and just keep going. Do not stop. I am telling all of you out there right now, and there is no time limit on on getting successful, whatever successful means. You're like, people can make it in their 40s, whatever. Do not pressure yourself, one foot in front of the other, have fun, do it for the vine. I don't know. I'm done.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Drink water.